Okay then, Helldivers, we are back and we've got loads to go over today as we've got a bit of a backhanded update for you guys happening inside of the game with a brand new patch update coming in, although probably not quite the one that you were expecting. We've got loads to go over, including crash fixes, weapon fixes, missing DLC and war bomb fixes, and we can also now laugh with audio. This is a wild one. Nonetheless, so we're going to break it all down for you guys today. If you haven't already, smash that beautiful like button, subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be so greatly appreciated. Make sure that you check out our incredible sponsor, GamerSups, the company that offer esports athletes and gamers alike with the most effective and healthy energy drink option. And we now have our own tinned alternatives. So whether it's powder formula or tinned alternative, you want to check those out via the link in the description and use code CloudPlays at checkout for a cheeky discount. And if you want to get involved with our super credit giveaway, it is very, very simple. Head down into the comment section and put in either a spanner, a wrench, or any sort of tool at all, and it'll enter you in. We'll be announcing the winners of that one in the next couple of days. With that being said though, let's dive into the game and see what it is that they put in this brand new patch update after 3 weeks of not receiving one. So starting off, we have got crash fixes, weapon fixes, missing DLC and war bomb fixes, and a really weird one for an emote. But we may not have the ones that you were quite expecting. In your crash fixes, you can now see that they fixed a crash that would occur when enemies despawned after being killed. They fixed a crash caused by tinkering with weapon customization, and they fixed a crash after getting killed by an explosion. Now, I am really glad that the fix for getting killed with an explosion is in play, because there's Helldivers. There's explosions every 5 seconds. So I'm glad that that's now in play, as well as a crash that would occur when enemies despawned after being killed, because again, just really frustrating. My biggest key factor from this one is the tinkering with the weapon customization has been an issue for me for such a long time now. Like, we're talking months upon months upon months. This has been a big problem, and I've got maybe about 7 or 8 weapons that I cannot use because every time I touch them in the arsenal, it bugs and crashes my game. So fingers crossed that now works, although they have fixed this 2 or 3 times over now. So we'll take it with a pinch of salt and we'll be trialing it out throughout the day. Now, when we get a little bit more niche down, they've got weapons, stratagems, and booster fixes that they have had in play. And this one may tilt you over the edge a little bit, considering the crash fixes were so minute, and the performance in this game right now is really, really bad. It's kind of an odd one, but a positive. The plans at 45 epochs has now had an improved spread, which was definitely needed and may make it a little bit more viable, even without the demo force attached to it. So we should be able to see that it works a lot better, as this is a decent buff that it definitely needed so that it can now work as intended. The laser turret now displays correct heat buildup. Now, this was a small issue, as it just pretty much gets blown up within about 15 seconds of continuous shooting anyway, so I'm not massively bothered about that one. You can't stop it from building up and just blowing up. So once it's up, it's up. So I think that that was a bit of a small issue, but the Lift 182 Warp Pack FX no longer shows when in first-person mode. So for those of you guys who had that issue, and we saw it all over Reddit, we're glad that that's now fixed. What they did also do is they disabled the Lift 182 Warp Pack fields around shuttles, preventing any Helldiver escapees. You're done. It's time to go home. Now, we'll get back into that in a second. The other 2 notes were that they fixed the desync between clients when using the Lift 182 Warp Pack to get out of a vehicle, and they also fixed the AR-32 pacifier being unable to fire for a second after reloading. Now, this is where I get a little bit confused by it. The game's performance right now is abysmal. There are audio problems consistently. There are visual issues consistently. Visual glitches in just loading into the map coming down from a Hellpod is atrocious. The frames just seem to be all over the place. And right now, I'd say we're probably, performance-wise, in the worst position that Arrowhead has ever left Helldivers at all. Especially being away on holiday for the last few weeks, it seems a little bit baffling to me, to the point where even Sham Georgiani said they should have left the game in a better state before they went away on holiday. So I'm a little bit confused as to why the warp pack being able to stop us from warping out of the Pelican at the end of a mission was so much of a big idea. I am a little bit confused by that. Helldivers found it hilarious, and we used to do it quite consistently, although now we can't do it, but we also still have our performance problems in play still. I'm going to presume that these were fixes that they went into play before they actually went away on holiday. We've not had patch updates now for weeks upon weeks, and I'm a little bit confused as to why this is what we've actually received off the back end of it. I am really glad that the Epoch is now fixed and the laser now has the correct heat build-up display unit, but overall, did I think that the warp pack's only fun quality from the ship factor really needed to be fixed? I'm not 100% sure on that one, especially when we take a look at the rest of the stuff. Enemies. We can now see that there are fixes for an enemy navigation in cities where they could not traverse in certain areas. Now, this is really, really good, but at the same time, it's also backhanded because they still haven't fixed the clipping issues where the enemies can get to locations that they shouldn't be, like through walls or through landscapes. And that seems to be probably a bigger problem as to why they haven't approached that one. I'm really confused. Miscellaneous fixes. They fixed an issue where some players were unable to access items tied to their DLC or war bonds. Really good change. Glad they done that. Fixed it for some emotes snapping the Helldiver torso when standing near a Hellpod drop. And they fixed a manic laughter emote where it was not triggering sound on the ship. Now, overall, I'm extremely baffled and I don't understand why this is what we're looking at today. There were so many bigger problems that were around even before they went on holiday that I would think should have been approached way before any of this really should have. Some things that we can take away from it are definitely positive, though. The weapon customization bug, I'm so glad is fixed. And the Plas 45 Epoch, now it's got its improved spread, so it should now work as intended. That is definitely a positive move. Where I get confused is why we're not seeing performance updates and main changes to the actual game in terms of fixes that are actually warranted. We're going to take out the fun factors like warping out of the Pelican for no reason at all, but we're going to leave the game in such a janky state that you can barely maneuver yourself around properly and actually be able to actually play the game as it's intended. We do know that they are working on the performance and the optimization of the game, as Shams Jorshani clearly stated a few days ago that their main target right now is to get it back on top before Xbox comes in at the later end of this month, which is absolutely great. But we've got around 20 days. So I'm expecting patch notes after patch notes after patch notes, likely to be every Tuesday that they actually fix something. So that's my hope. Whether that happens, we'll have to wait and see. But if this doesn't launch in a decent state for Xbox, this could be yet again a very crucial moment for the game's longevity that we have seen so many times over. Nonetheless, though, I want to take a look at your top comments from the previous video because you guys were talking about a lot when we were saying about the CEO's comments with regards to patch updates and such moving forward, which is extremely ironic. This first one right here states, in my opinion, the DSS should always be providing some sort of free stratagems and maybe even have vote for what mission modifiers are active, such as SEAF deployment, orbital blockades. Right now, the DSS doesn't feel like a super powerful space station that turns the tide of battle. Is just kind of there most of the time. Now, yes, I do somewhat agree with that. I don't agree with the factor of it having the mission modifiers are tied to the DSS, mainly because the mission modifiers are attached to the planets that we're actually diving on. So you'll have all of your weather conditions, whether the SEAF troops are actually there, or if certain enemies actually spawn there more frequently. That is pretty much how that one operates. The DSS does need a rework, though, and I'm hoping that they're working on it. We know full well it's not in its final model, as they've already stated that they've got so many changes that they're going to be bringing to the table for it. I just hope that they're the right ones. Nothing like this patch update, that's for sure. This next one states right here, 22 days until the recruits drop. Edit. Thanks for the 100 likes. Probably my most liked comment. Now, I absolutely love that. Massive shout out to Eclipse. I'm really glad for you. But yes, only 20 odd days remaining until the Xbox recruits. And a quick message from an Xbox recruit. Says right here that they are soon to be an Xbox diver here. My hope is that on the 26th, we have such a massive amount of players join that Sony and Microsoft realize it's extremely profitable to swap games with each other, that it finally puts an end to the console wars and exclusive games. Now, I do agree with this to a degree. I do think that some games will always remain exclusive, primarily their larger titles, and I think that that is something that will happen quite a lot moving forward, although we have now opened the door into the crossover unconjunction of the console war finally being closed off. I'm here for it. I know that most people watching this video are here for it, so if we can do this one correctly, then hopefully we'll be on the route to a brighter future for gamers alike moving down the line. Nonetheless, though, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. We have got another video coming up for you guys later on today with regards to the major order, so make sure you stay tuned to it. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, post notifications turned on. Thanks again for watching, guys. I appreciate you all, and as always, I'll see you in the clouds.